Hello everyone, this is Solar Wind, and welcome to another episode of, what do we call this? Captain Survival Season 2, obviously. I've solved the issue of power production. I spent ages making this. Well, by ages, I just went back and forth and got all the resources to make the machine do all the work, because that's really handy, by the way. Like, even, there is a problem with this, like, this particular one, I've heard from all the comments in the section of the mod description, is not so good for multiplayer. Like, it works okay on single player, and then the beam drill is also another one that, single player worlds it works really well, but it causes lag on, like, multiplayer, which is just, you know, Space Engineers and multiplayer aren't all that good, but they're higher-end mods, and they're kind of demanding. We're going to be taking the little vehicle out of them. Okay, so that's working, okay. We're going to be taking this vehicle out and exploring. Also, I've been hearing all over the internet, for those that follow Dragon Ball Super, I'm gonna help you out, guys, because I'm sick of... Oh, okay. Damn, did I... Hold on, let me just check. Yeah, I thought that might be the case. Okay, so what happened to the cockpit is I may have turned off the mod. I've switched out some mods. Like, if I'll show you here, as you can see, I've got Azimuth's Complete Mega Mod Pack, and the reason is, basically, he makes smaller batteries. Now, before I had this Greens mod on, and what it does is it makes the vanilla O2 farms more effective than, you know, standard. It makes the solar panels produce more energy. It kind of amps up everything, you know, in the concept of the green theme. It amps up all the renewable sort of things, like your O2 farms, your, all of that kind of stuff. Now, this is interesting. Can we put, oh, you fit it there. Okay. Right, to be. But yeah, so all the O2 farms and stuff, right, so it makes them a little bit more effective, but as I was noticing, it was really not enough effectiveness. Even with all the O2 farms I had, we didn't really get enough power to last us, like, in the day. And I've got shorter days, yes. A longer day you'll get more oxygen, but then you've got to last a longer night where you're not producing more oxygen. So in fact, if you think about it, the shorter day, you know, even though you don't produce as much oxygen, you don't have to have as much storage. The problem is we just weren't getting enough O2 to even fuel the room. And yeah, there's, like, you say, oh, build a mining ship and mine ice. So the problem with that is we when I was actually looking at this planet before, there is no ice on this planet at all. This planet is completely iceless. There's not even the section of ice anywhere. We've got zilch on ice, so we can't do that. I would love to do that, but we can't do it because we've got no ice. So, right, so we've got absolutely no ice. Now let me just check this. Oh God. Oh, this is gonna be a bit of a problem. We're gonna hook this up to the conveyors, right? But it has no... Oh, this is the little port on the back, or the front. Okay, so the port on the front will do. Let's go 3 little ports on the back. Okay. Well... Okay, let's see if we got a different one in here. We might even just go to the standard fighter cockpit, even though I can't see anything. I'm probably going to crash this thing anyway, so, you know, also, just a little heads up. Yeah. Looks like my jetpack's ran out of fuel. Alright, so while that's building it up, we'll take her out for a little spin later. Just to be safe, I'll put a little conveyor on here, so I think everything will be hooked up. Like I said, I don't like to use this cockpit. It's a bit thing. As a complete bonus, it adds in these cool little conveyors. Now, this is cool because they're very efficient. I'd like to say efficient. They're basically helpful because of the way they are. So this is up. Right, we're going to take this baby out for a spin. Let me get the timing blocks is what I want. I think I've set timers on this one. Right. V There's another timer I've set, so this is going to be interesting. How come I can't take off? Is the connector off? Let me just check. Connector, I think. Right, are we unlocked? Okay. Technical difficulties. I don't know. Oh. What's going on? Let's have a look at this. Technical difficulties. Oh, the landing gears are still locked. Okay, apparently that didn't unlock the landing gears. But as you can tell, this ship is ugly. I know it's ugly. That's what happens when I design a survival. You just get a limit. It's just hard to build. It's really hard to build. So I'm gonna unlock these damn things. Connector enabled. No, seriously, I need to land. Unlock your annoying little. Why did the time box suddenly disappear? I don't even know. Alright, come on. Get this thing off the ground. I don't even have the connector strength on that eye. Why am I? What is going on? This thing should be able to. Anyway, as I was getting back to the Dragon Ball Z, some are saying it's new form, some are saying it's both, some saying it's just Ultra Instinct, and Ultra Instinct, otherwise known as Mastery of Self-Movement, I'm actually going to explain here. Alright. Here we go. My bad, the VTOL thrusters weren't on. Right, we got a little power. As you may have noticed, the power that used to be this. Why are we not moving? Oh. I'm pushing the right button, I swear. Oh, it's really slow. My apologies for the very slow vehicle. I don't know, I think I can fix this. Oh, and this is what I'm finding to do. When you do this... Oh, crap. Okay, this is a really bad shit. I have to manually fly it, but basically what you want to do is set a forward thrusters to lower and higher, and I found that really helps with, especially with the aerodynamics mod, because you get you basically don't have to idle the throttle all the time, and with most ships, for some reason not this one, you don't have the problem of this. I'm going to try and use the WAS. That's still not helping. Okay, what? Even I'm... I don't even know what's going on with this ship. Right, but I've designed better ones on creative. This is just like I think I might even show you like the design of creative. You know, I might put that at the start and fast forward, and then go into like building the ship in the survival scenario, just so you get to see it and get the experience. This thing is definitely going to crash with. You know, I'm not the best at flying these things, but this thing is like, whoa, God. This is what the advantage of making it creative, since there's no limitations, because I build it in space worlds, and even when I build on planets, I've got less limitations, right? You can build it so that it works, it's more functional in survival. Like, you just have to keep its survival in mind, and the way I've done that is by, one, making it cheaper by using light armor, and two, using light armor to make the weight less conservative, because in creative, you know, you don't have to worry about its weight as much. Like, it still plays a role, but you don't usually have any cargo, which is where the weight thing comes in. Anyway, Ultra Instinct Goku, as you were calling it. Before that, you were calling it, before its release, you were calling it the Limit Breaker of Goku. Right. Let me explain. It is a new transformation that unlocks the ability of mastery of Ultra Instinct, in my opinion. Now, they could change this, but the reason you're all going, half of you are going, you know, a lot of you are going with it all over the internet, Ultra Instinct Goku, right? Wow, this is a boring planet. Is just technique, and some of you are saying it's a transformation, some of you have been saying both. Well, the both are 100% right. Winks points out that he's not sure what the hint is,
So that's point one in the actual anime it points out. The second point is how Ultra Instinct or Mastery of Self movement works. It basically works that your fighting is a combination of instinctive, right, is a combination of reflex movements and instinct. So basically your instinct is basically the brain reacting. It's like if your brain could tell your body, and as soon as your brain thinks it, your body moves. That's the instinct portion of it. So the instinct portion of your brain, there is like literally where your conscious brain would cause a very big delay, right? Your oh Jesus. Oh, we're going down. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Oh look, my blueprint overlay is working. Kind of, because it's on an old blueprint. Oh, it's Stu. What is it, Stu? Oh. We're stranded with like 81 oxygen. I have oxygen bottle, don't worry, I should be able to get back. Oh jeez, the damage on this thing. Who votes we save it or just leave it to rot? Has it got any ammo, right? I didn't rename the ammo containers on the Tim's construction. Tim is awesome, by the way. Anyway, there's another mod for multiplayer that's, I'll show you it. Why I'm talking about Ultra Instinct, right? Ultra Instinct, right, would make Goku's movements faster. That's why his movements are so fast. Because essentially, he combines with reflex, and a reflex movement is basically the inability he moves, right? His body moves on its own. That's what they're hinting at, right? So basically, a reflex is an involuntary muscle that doesn't consult the brain. The body just moves. There's no thought needed to do that. That's what they're doing. However, the Ultra Instinct part, or Mastery of Self movement, this is the mod. This works better with multiplayer. It's less laggy. It can be a bit dicey, but you know, it doesn't automatically queue up components, which it will auto build, and since it's not having all those little nanobytes everywhere, it just kind of does some kind of effect which does it over time, but it doesn't do the particle effects, and that still causes a little less lag with that. The advantage with this one is you can obviously put it on small ships, which is why I'm thinking some people I've seen use this on survival are using it to suppose the big one because it's only for large ships, which means they can just set blueprint overlay, put one of these on, and use Tim's to cargo up. I think this would, you know, this is a very good system. I would like some mining equipment, kind of like this feature. I'd like something like this where you can fit it in, but it could also be like a mining laser, like the beam drill for a small ship, because I put a beam drill on a large ship to the connectors really hard. Right, Ultra Instincts, right, is only going to make him move faster. Right, we've already seen that Winx and Beerus have said Kaioken times 20. Kaioken in Super Saiyan Blue, right, Super Saiyan Blue, Kaioken times 20 would not be enough to match Jiren, and we've seen Goku's new form, when he goes to his new form, towards the end of the form as it's wearing off because he ran out of energy, even though he's absorbed the Spirit Bomb, I don't think he had enough energy to maintain it, not because it's a high Gazla, like energy Gazla, I think it's just he's not used to the form, so when he's attacking, his body's using like more energy than the form should be. Like he's exhausting, you know, he's not used to the form, so he's not used to because he's not used to the form, he can't conserve, you know, he can't do like the most powerful attack. He uses the maximum amount of energy every time. For the most powerful attack, he's not doing like an attack. His most powerful attack where with the minimum cost that can cost. So let's say it costs, the minimum cost to get a most powerful attack you can do in the form costs like 10 energy, right? Instead of using 10 energy, which is the least amount of energy he can use to do the same, to get the same result, he's using 50 energy to do it. So I think he's losing energy due to the fact he's not familiar with the new form. And because you're not familiar with it, you know, you're not getting the most out of your energy per an attack. He's just he was wasting a lot of the energy fighting because he wasn't used to it. And they already admit he was improving. Towards the end there, he was beating up Jiren, right? Towards the end, he was actually getting Jiren, Jiren down. Jiren was going down. Like, Jiren took some damage because of him. Like, Jiren was pretty damaging. We've already admitted Jiren is a monster, but he was getting damaged by Goku towards the end there. And, right, if we've already established Kaioken times 20, Spirit Bomb times, Kaioken, Super Saiyan Blue, Kaioken times 20, Spirit Bomb, boost is not enough to match Jiren, and towards the end, he was actually, you know, as he get more precise, he actually, even the gods of destruction, even the one that knew Jiren best from his universe was like, I can't believe there's even it's impossible that the guy could exist that could match Jiren this much. He was saying he was fighting not necessarily on equal, but on such a level where actually Jiren had to fight. He was on such a level that Jiren couldn't just, you know, Jiren couldn't just brush it off. He had to actually put some effort into fighting, which is right. And he wasn't used to the form. This is just the raw, you know, raw adapting as we go. This is just the, like, beginning of this new form. And basically what I'm saying is this form unlocks Ultra Instinct Goku, and it gives him a power boost because, you know, his current power at Kaioken times 20 with the Spirit Bomb boost in Super Saiyan Blue would not be enough to even hurt Jiren, right? We've already established that because we saw it. The problem with that is the Ultra Instinct does not give him increase in power. It just gives him a speed boost because he can fight instinctively. He moves like that. So I'm saying this form is so powerful, it gives him mastery of the most advanced and difficult technique even gods struggle with. In addition, it gives him so much power. It gives him so much power that even Jiren has to fight seriously. Like Jiren actually has to put some effort in. And that was before Goku is even used to the form and really seen what it can do. You know, he was just taking on a test drive. He hasn't even, you know, he was taking on a test drive. That was the warm-up fight, you know. When we see it later, I'm thinking it's going to be so much more powerful. I think it's even going to be, like, Jiren is like, you know, we've already established, Jiren looked right at him and went, he's done, you know. Even though he's still in the tournament, he's not going to be much of a threat. And I think that's the biggest thing. I think Goku's going to, you know, get his energy back. And I think when we see round 2, we're going to see what this form can really do, which is just going to be terrifying because, you know, Super Saiyan God. Oh, crap. I swear, I put an antenna on the base. Are we out of the range? Oh wait, my broadcasting range is only 500 meters. Okay, so I'm gonna go pause this and find where the hell my base is. Oh no, sorry. Okay, so that took a while, like, to the point where I was just like, oh, maybe I should just switch to the spectator. I just switched to the spectator camera and just looked at it, and then figured out where I was to try and get back. Because, like, that took a while. It took a while just to locate with the spectator cam. I forgot to put an antenna on the base, and you could have. Yeah, you're probably going, oh my god, we already knew that, bro. Test. Yeah, we're just checking the mic is working. For a second there, I thought it wasn't. So I should probably, and by probably, I'm gonna immediately put an antenna on this thing. If I could get up there, actually. You know what, it doesn't matter where I put the antenna, it just has to be on said base, it doesn't have to be anywhere specific. That's the kind of irony of the antenna. It's not really, doesn't matter where you put it, it'll do its job. There, now we have an antenna there, that should make the base much easier to locate. And basically, as you can see, the little tiny solar panels, but right, Goku and Jiren, we already saw every god of destruction was concerned with it. Like, they were terrified under the mere mention of his Ultra Instinct. But it's not just Ultra Instinct. It increases the power of Goku. Goku Kaioken times 20 Spirit Bomb is not enough. So that transformation, I'm going to say they use the word shell, right? And shell refers to a more of a surface layer. So he broke his shell. They didn't use the word limit, right? And everyone's translating it and correcting it to limit. But I think they intentionally used the word shell to represent that all the other transformations of Goku, because Whisk even says they will never get to the power beyond, right? He mentions that. And We've had many theories. I think they use the word shell because it represents the outside. So this new form could potentially be using the very core of his power. Like before, every other form would tap into the core of his power and release, and give him a power boost by surfacing some of the core power. But with this form, he taps into 100% of the core. He can use every bit of power he has. There is no restrictions, where the other forms, he can only withdraw so much power from his core as he taps into it. Those forms let him tap into his true, his core power, but this form lets him, and let it dwindle on the surface, that little power. We've seen how much power he can do when he taps into just a little bit of it. Imagine how much power if I'm right, and this new form is like the very core. He's using 100% of the power he has. He's using the very core of his power, which would explain why they use the word shall rather than limit. They specifically used it for something like that because that's how you interpret power under the use of shell when you don't try and use it as limit. Right, so people are using limit, but I suppose they deliberately use the word shell to kind of represent he's not just using, power that he's tapped in, because all the time he achieves a new form, he's always tapping into the power within, right, and withdrawing that power. What if this time he's not, instead of tapping into it, he's unlocked the very power within, and he can use all of the power in his core. He doesn't just have to withdraw some of it from the surface to unlock a new transformation. This new transformation lets him use 100%, everything he has. There are no restrictions anymore, He doesn't just gain a power boost by tapping into something. He takes the whole cookie and uses that whole cookie to blow the hell out of everyone that messes with him. And just my theory on the thoughts. But anyway, you saw me crash the ship, as you tell, and you already know that I use the spectator cam. So, as I was saying before, I was so rudely interrupted. This one causes a little less lag with de-abling particle effects. I think they're also using it for the small ship value. Like they have said it's a bit worse, but when they dialed, I think they just broke something in the new version, because when they dialed it back to the old version, this was just working fine. There was no problem with it. I just watched their live stream because I was interested in the multiplayer aspects of it, just to see how multiplayer was coming in. Because they do a lot of multiplayer, so I was just wondering how it was working, and it seems to, at the moment, a bit broken. But also what's broken, you saw that giant crater. It's like 5 times smaller than my ship, and we all saw I was going less than 50 meters per second. That's not very quick. To be honest, it's not that quick. It should not make a hole. It should make a pretty big hole, but that was a bit excessive. They need to fix that. Too big. The hose was a bit excessive. Anyway, I'm just jumping around like an idiot. So I've discussed that. So now that I've got the theory out of the way, yes, I will talk about Minecraft, and I'm just gonna, I don't know what I'm gonna do actually. I think I'm gonna go find something to do. Let's see. You can see me jumping around like an idiot, but basically Minecraft, the VR was cutting in and out on my screen. That was what was going on. So my screen would show the image, and then for some reason it would just start freezing on my phone screen. It's supposed to be Trans VR. I don't know why it's doing that. Plus the image quality was actually really bad, but I think that was just, I recently set my phone to a lower setting because, lower visual setting deliberately, because I needed it to be lower to run a higher FPS for something else. So solar energy, 100%, Jesus. Battery, we got, okay, so we're doing good on power. We're doing good on power. This is our magnesium, silicon, yeah, this is LCD automated script. So, welcome to the base. What else can I open this? This is a little bad. I don't know, okay, I have an oxygen generator on this one, but it's kind of useless. I just thought I could fill up my air tanks, right? Like this. Probably actually. Well, I must be wearing my helmet. I've got oxygen in this room, I'm pretty sure. This doesn't tell us SRO2. I'll have to put another panel in for that. If I don't have any room to put another panel in. Basically, I think I'll do something with this room. There's like nothing in it. This is basically everything we got. Now I'll just check how long this has been recording for.
So I'm going to cut this one a bit short because I've got nothing else to do. God damn, I forgot to put my helmet on. I'm going to cut this one a bit short because there's nothing else to do. I did crash this thing. We talked about some nice topics. I think this has been a very informative video. I haven't really achieved much, but the point of this video was just to take the thing out for the spin. And to be honest, I've made so much better ships that looked even worse. Like, I've made things that look so much better than that, and considering to my more consistent builds, they look like crap, and they fly so much better than that on even survival. Like, they're not really good on fuel efficiency because they're built for creative. You can fly them around in creative, but they kind of crash every they run out of power within a few minutes, but they fly better than that piece of crap. This time it was not my flying, it was actually the shipbuilding, which, by the way, for all those newbies, the way you build ships, even in vanilla, can affect how you fly. Like the amount of gyroscopes you use, how you're using it, can affect how you fly, and that one was really built badly. I think next time we're going to get a better ship. So this has been SolarWind. See you.